So if you come on the block and sit yourself, so half of your bum is on the block, half of it is rolling forward, okay? Everybody, you can hear me, yeah? Thumbs up if you can. Yeah, perfect, okay. So off we go. Yeah. So cross your legs in front of you. At the moment we're just warming up, so you don't have to do anything too drastic. And prop yourself up with more pillows if you're finding that the knees are quite high up, okay? And then place your hands on top of your knees and just start engaging with the core muscles. Today we're gonna do a yoga class that is basically focused on the different chakras, okay? So we're basically working on the root chakra today, and I'm going to explain to you what the root chakra is, how it works well in the body, how it doesn't, and what are the physical manifestations. I'll just allow everybody to get in and then I'm going to go on with it. But I just want you to focus on this area here, on the root area of your body. So there's 7 chakras in the body. It starts with the root chakra and it goes all the way up into the crown of the body, okay? Today we're focusing on the root chakra. And what I want you to do for that today is basically work on the core muscle, but focus a lot onto the root chakra. Also imagine that you're wearing red underwear, and basically the connection with the red is the color of the root chakra. But imagining that you're wearing red underwear, it basically covers the area that it manifests in, okay? So place your hands on your knees or on your thighs, wherever they're comfortable, and start working with the core muscles. So you're doing the pulling up in the pelvic area, sucking the belly in, bringing the belly button towards the spine, and then opening the chest and tucking the chin under. So already, if you're engaging the core muscle like this, you're working on all the chakras all the time, okay? That's why I'm always emphasizing that we have to work on the core muscles being engaged. And now what I want you to do, I want you to place your hands just on the area below the belly button. And we're gonna do a couple of breathings. So you're still working on the core muscles, but as you're breathing in, you're trying to puff up the hands. So you're puffing up the belly, pushing the hands away from the body. And as you're breathing out, you're trying to bring the belly button towards the spine. Inhaling to the count of 5, puffing up the belly. Exhaling to the count of 5, bringing the belly button towards the spine. Inhaling, puffing up the belly. Exhaling, bringing the belly button towards the spine. We're going to do a couple of more breathing here. And bringing it up to the belly button. And then interlace the fingers in front of you, straightening the arms. Push the hands away from you. On the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, sucking the belly in and pushing the hands towards the ceiling, straightening the arms as much as you can. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, keep your left hand up towards the ceiling, right hand down towards the floor. On the next inhale, stretch the left side. On the exhale, bending the right elbow, you're looking down towards your left armpit and you're bending towards your right. Stretching the left side of the body, keeping your left arm as straight as you can. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center, left hand by the block, right hand up towards the ceiling. Inhale, stretch the right side. Exhale, lean towards your left, looking down towards your right armpit. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center. Place your right hand behind you, left hand over the right knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your right. Chin parallel to the floor and you're looking towards the right shoulder. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. Exhaling, twisting towards your right. On the next inhale, come back to the center. Left hand behind you, right hand over the left knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your left, chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your left shoulder. And then come back to the center, let go of the block. Place it somewhere where you can reach it when you're doing the other poses. Come on your fours. Hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. You're on a tabletop position. On the next inhale, you're looking forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out, relax the belly. Exhale, curve the back towards the ceiling, push the bum towards your hands, looking down towards your knees. Inhale, look forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out. Exhale, curve the back towards the ceiling. As you're pushing the bum towards your hands, you're starting to contract the abdominals and you're looking down towards your knees. Do it 2 more times, following your breath. So on the inhale, you're doing one movement. On the exhale, you're doing the other. And then on the next inhale, you're coming back into a neutral position. Tuck your toes under. Exhale, push your hips up towards the ceiling, looking down towards your feet. On the inhale, you're bending the right knee, transferring the weight onto the left leg. On the exhale, you're bending the left knee, transferring the weight onto the right. So inhaling to the count of 5 in one movement, exhaling to the count of 5 the other movement. And then on the next inhale, looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet hip-width apart, grab hold of the opposite elbow, inhale, look forward, lengthen the spine, exhale, you're folding forward. Now, in this position here, we're starting to sort of clench the bum hole. So you're starting to connect with that because this is one of the positions that is quite good for this chakra. Now you're nodding your head a couple of times. Turn your head right and left. Connect with the root of the body. So in the area between your perineum and then you're sort of bringing your body towards the right and towards the left. Try to breathe into the belly today, okay? So every time you're inhaling and exhaling, try to do that movement where you're puffing up the belly on the inhale and exhaling, you're bringing the belly button towards the spine. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center, bend the knees, let go of the hands on the floor, tuck your chin under. Exhale, you're coming all the way up into a standing position, head last to come up. Okay, so we're coming into the mountain pose. Now this is one of the poses, so there are a couple of poses that cover all the chakras, okay? We're gonna incorporate those into the practice, and it's pretty much what I do every time when I do the practice, that we're doing those poses pretty much all the time. So there is the sun salutation, there is the triangle, there is the staff pose, there is folding forward, and warrior 2 is another one, okay? So we're gonna incorporate that into today's practice. We're coming into the mountain pose, and we're gonna do a variation of the mountain pose because it activates that root chakra. And as you're doing the mountain pose, I explain to you all the characteristics of the root chakra. So you're bringing your feet together, big toes are touching. Now you're bringing the weight into the middle of the feet. So if you're tending to lean on your toes, bring the weight back. If you're tending to lean on your heels, bring the weight forward. As you're in the middle, start bringing pulling the kneecaps up, so you're engaging the front of the thighs. And then to engage this root chakra and to close your anal sphincter, you need to tilt your pelvis under until you're feeling that clenching into the sort of anal area, okay? Now suck the belly in, open the chest, tuck the chin under, arms by your sides with the fingers pointing down towards the floor. Okay, so from here, I want you at intervals, as I'm explaining to you the root chakra, to bring the hands up as you're looking forward, and you're bringing the hands up, really clenching the area down here, and then you're coming back down. So you're gonna do this repetitively as I am explaining the root chakra, okay? So the root chakra is to do with the basic needs of the body. So it's about security and safety. And a good manifestation of the root chakra is that you're comfortable with your body, that you've got good boundaries with the outside world, you're feeling secure, you're feeling financially secure, and then you're feeling successful. If it's not working very well, you're not really liking your person as you are, you don't feel secure, you don't feel financially stable, you have got a tendency to anger, tendency to violence, and feeling sometimes lazy, not motivated. Physical manifestation of it is it controls the kidneys, it controls the adrenals, so it's connected with the fear factor, but also it is connected to the bones and to the kidneys themselves, okay? So any problem with that, it will be problems with the legs, problems with the spine, problems with the bones, and also problems with the anal area or the bowels or the large intestine, okay? So we're gonna start the practice now. Imagine you're wearing red underwear and really focus your attention into this area, trying to clench in this area as much as you can as you do in the postures. We're going to do 2 sun salutations to start with. So first of all, everybody bring your hands up towards the ceiling, bring the hands together and stretch the arms, clench in that area and tilting your pelvis under. So you should feel that this area below the belly button, or just in between the anus and your genitals, is nice and clenched. And then look up towards the ceiling. On the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips, placing your hands on the shin, the ankle or the mat. On the next inhale, press through the hands, look forward, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend the knees, hands on the mat, step the right leg out into a lunge, left leg to meet it into a high plank. Now set the plank, you're placing your shoulders above the wrists, you're pushing the heels away from you, clenching the buttocks, sucking the belly in, pulling the kneecaps up, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Exhale, knees to the floor. Leading with the chest, rubbing the elbows by your rib cage, you're bringing your chest down to the floor. Top of the feet on the mat. On the next inhale, lift the chest off the floor, your elbows are bent, you're looking forward, roll the shoulders away from you. Exhale, tuck your toes under, bring the heels, the bottom towards your heels, and you're coming up into a downward dog. Stepping your feet forward so that you can bring your heels down towards the floor. Now the downward dog is one of the postures that engages all the chakras, okay? So feet are hip width apart, big toes are slightly tucked in, you're looking down towards your feet or you're pointing the top of your head down towards the floor, trying to keep your legs as straight as you can. If your legs start to tremble, you can bend the knees. And then inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Now tilt your pelvis under slightly, so you're still feeling that pelvic area engaged. And then on the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bend the knees, start walking your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet together. Exhale, you're folding forward, letting go of the head. On the next inhale, come up a little bit, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Second one, inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, add a step or jump into a high plank. On the next inhale, set the plank. Exhale, add a low plank or knees to the floor like the previous one. On the next inhale, push the body through the hands. Straighten the arms, you're looking forward into an up dog. Exhale, tuck your toes under, downward dog. Now position yourself with your feet as you did on the first pose. Tuck your pelvis under so you're feeling that anal area contracted. Keeping your hands as wide as the shoulders, wrist in line with the top of the mat. Now squeeze the shoulder blades together, push the hands away from you so you're really feeling a release also on your upper back and the shoulders. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. If by pushing your hands away from you, trying to bring the torso towards the thighs, this engages your lower abdominal area, just come back a little bit and engage that pelvic floor. And then on the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, either step or jump to the top of the mat. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Okay? So, come to the top of the mat. Okay, everybody's okay? So big toes are touching, hands on the hips, and on the next inhale, you're stepping with the right foot 2/3 of the mat. Turning the toes towards the top right corner of the mat. The right leg is straight, you're bending the left leg. 3 options here. Again, always prioritize for today that this area here is engaged, okay? So if by going too much down, you lose the connection here, you need to come back up. 3 options here. The easier one, you're placing your forearm, left forearm, just on top of the left knee. Turn the body towards your right, bring your arm all the way around. Otherwise, grabbing the block, you're placing the block on the outside of the right foot, and you're doing the same thing here. Otherwise, you're placing your hand directly on the floor, making sure you can turn the torso towards your right, and you're either looking straight ahead or towards the ceiling or towards the right hand. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. So you need to really focus onto the pelvic floor and see if it is engaged. So you should feel a little pull just on the lower abdominal area. And then on the next inhale, look down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips, and exhale, you're stepping to the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. We're doing it on the other side. If you needed the block on the position, place the block on the outside of your right foot. Okay, so now come to the top of the mat. Big toes are touching. Hands on the hips, you're stepping with the left foot 2/3 of the mat. Turning the toes towards the top left corner of the mat. Keeping your left leg straight, you're bending the right knee. Again, keep your left hand on the hip, right forearm above the right knee, or on the outside on the block or directly on the mat. Turn the torso towards your left and bring your left arm all the way around, making sure you're squeezing that shoulder blade towards the spine, looking either straight ahead or towards the ceiling or towards the left hand. Whatever is comfortable for your neck. Remember to keep that pelvic floor area engaged. So wherever you are in the position, you should still feel that pulling on the lower abdominal area. If not, you need to come out of the pose and slowly come back into the pose until you're feeling that pull. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, look down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips. Exhale, you're stepping to the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, so we're gonna do the triangle pose, but have your block next to you, because we're gonna go from the triangle into another pose, okay? So the block goes on the outside of your left foot. Have your feet together, hands on the hips. You're stepping halfway down the mat with the right foot, turning the toes towards the top right corner of the mat. Maybe a little bit more than half the mat. And then on the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up, engage the front of the thigh so your legs are straight, arms parallel to the floor. Exhale, you're leaning towards the front leg. Place your hands either on the shin or on the inside of the ankle. Right hand up towards the ceiling, palms facing away from you, pulling the kneecaps up so the legs are nice and engaged. Focus onto the pelvic floor area. So in this position, you should be able to really feel the core muscles engaged, okay? So you're not collapsing here onto the left, you're keeping your torso engaged, and it's almost like somebody's pulling you from the head away from the body, and you're turning the torso towards your right. So you're looking towards, straight ahead if you can, or towards your right hand. On the inhale, you're engaging the core, lengthening the left side of the body. On the exhale, you're turning towards your right. So you should still feel that pelvic floor engaged. And then on the next inhale, looking down towards the floor, come up, place your hands on the hips. You're walking slightly forward with your right foot. As you're starting to bend forward, you're bending the front leg and you're lifting the right leg off the floor. Once you're here, you're lifting the leg off the floor. Place your hand on the block. Position it that as you're leaning forward, your block is directly underneath the shoulder and you're lifting the right leg off the floor. Now, if you're already finding this difficult, again, focus onto that pelvic area. If you want to go forward, you're placing your right hand up towards the ceiling and you're changing the focus. So from looking forward, you're looking towards your right hand and you're turning that foot, the right foot, so that it's facing towards the side. One hip stacked in front of the, on top of the other. One long last breath here. And then on the next inhale, start looking down towards the floor, bending the left leg. You're starting to bring your right hand down onto the waist, right leg down onto the floor. Step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay. Bring the block on the outside of the right foot, feet together, hands on the hips. You're stepping with your left foot just a little bit over halfway down the mat, turning the toes towards the top left corner of the mat. Pull the kneecaps up on the inhale, straightening the legs, bringing your hands parallel to the floor. Exhale, you're leaning forward, and then you're placing your hand either on the shin or on the inside of the ankle, lengthening the right side of the rib cage, and on the exhale, you're turning the torso towards your left. Left hand up towards the ceiling, palms facing away from you, pulling the kneecaps up on the inhale, lengthening the right side of the rib cage, and on the exhale, you're turning the torso towards your left. Imagine that red underwear, and also keep that pelvic area engaged. Inhale into the count of 5, breathing through the belly, exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, looking down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips. And now you're stepping gently forward. Tiptoes of the left foot. You're bending the right leg as you're leaning forward and you're lifting the left leg off the floor. Grab hold of the block, place it directly underneath your shoulder. So it shouldn't be anywhere close to your front foot. It should be at least a hand breadth away, if not more. Lifting that left leg off the floor. Now clench that pelvic floor, feeling the lower abdominals engaged. If this is as far as you want to go today, that's perfect. Otherwise, start turning the foot towards the left. Left hand up towards the ceiling. And then you start looking towards your left hand. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, look down towards the floor. Place your hand on the hip. Start bending the right leg as you're bringing your left leg down towards the floor. Step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Now we're stepping with the right foot alongside the block, the mat. Grab hold of the block, place it on the front just in case you're gonna need it. We're gonna fold forward with the wide leg, okay? So you want to have, first of all, your feet in line with the edges of the mat. So the edges of the feet are in line with the edges of the mat. The big toes are slightly tucked in, and you're placing the weight on the edges of the feet, so you're lifting the inside of your arches. And now on the next inhale, open the chest, and exhale, you're folding forward. You want to place your hands either on the block or on the mat. And now you want to clench that anal sphincter area, your bum hole, and then you're folding forward, keeping that connection, keeping that area engaged. If you're folding too much forward and you're losing that connection, come back up. Your elbows are bent and they're facing the back of you. You're letting go of the head, clenching the bum hole, sucking the belly in, breathing to the belly on the inhale, exhaling, trying to bring the belly button towards the spine. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up. Place your hands on the hips and come all the way up into a standing position. Now, the next pose that we're going to do, you can get rid of the block. It's quite specific to the root chakra, okay? So you want to bring your feet out. So the toes are pointing towards the edges of the mat with the heels slightly in. And then what we're going to do, we're going to squat down. With the knees, we're tracking the toes, okay? So the knees don't come in, they're tracking the toes. You're squatting down and you're tilting your pelvis under, placing your hands in your chest. Looking forward, tilting your pelvis under, really feeling that area engaged. So you're pulling up from the pelvic area. And then on the next inhale, you're straightening the legs. Place your hands on the hips. We're gonna do it one more time. And this time we're gonna try to squat down onto the floor, okay? If you cannot do it, come up, and as we're going down, you come back into the horse pose again. Place your hands in front of your chest. Make sure that the toes are pointing toward the edges of the mat. And then on the next inhale, bringing the knees out, you're squatting down. And you're squatting down all the way down if you can. 3, 2, and 1, and you're coming all the way up. Place your hands on the hips, bring the toes towards the center, heels towards the center, toes towards the center, and you're coming to the front of the mat. We're gonna do the warrior 2. So feet together. We're stepping with the right foot, quite a long stance. Depending on how tall you are, you might need the whole length of the mat, okay? So eventually with the warrior 2, you want to get into a position where your front thigh is parallel to the floor with the knees just directly above the ankle, and this is the position you want to get to, okay? So first let's focus on the right leg. The toes are pointing towards the edge of the mat, so they are 90 degrees from the front. Edges facing the edge of the mat, and then you're pulling again you're putting the weight onto the edge of the foot, so you're lifting the inside of the arch, and then you're focusing onto the front leg. So this leg, the right leg, is turning out, okay? Now as you're focusing on the front leg, you're bending the front knee, but you still want to see the big toes. The tendency is for the knee to come in, so you're trying to guide it out, feeling the stretch on the inside of your thighs. Now sitting between the legs, the tendency is to go forward, and then you're bringing your arms up towards the ceiling, roll the shoulders away from you, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and you're looking towards your left middle finger. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Really focus onto the position of the legs, as they're important for the chakra root, and clenching that pelvic floor. And then on the next inhale, place your hands on the hips, straighten the front leg. Now we're turning over. So you're turning the left foot so that it's facing the edge of the mat, and you're turning the right foot so it's facing the back of the mat, okay? Now, place the weight onto the edge of the left foot. If you need to step your right foot to the side, just do so now. The weight goes into the edge of the foot, the inside of the arches are up, and then on the next inhale, you're bending the right knee, making sure you can still see the big toes, sitting between the legs. Inhale, bring your hands up, parallel to the floor, roll the shoulders away from you, looking towards your right middle finger. Focus onto the legs and focus into this sort of pelvic area, clenching the pelvic area, and that helps you to keep the core up, the spine is straight. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. Breathe through the belly, so you're breathing into the belly and exhaling, bringing the belly button towards the spine. On the next inhale, hands on the hips, straightening the front leg. You're taking a short step and then you step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, so we're going to do the balancing pose. We're going to do the tree pose, okay? So you're placing all your weight onto the left leg, tiptoes of the right. Hands on the hips. You're lifting the right leg off the floor, but you're still clenching the left glute. And then you're bringing that right knee out, and you're either placing the foot on the inside of the calf, never on the knee joint, either above or below the knee joint, or you grab hold of the foot and you're placing it on the inside of your groin. And then place your hands in front of your chest. Fix your gaze on a fixed spot in front of you. And then if you feel like you can go a little bit further, then bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Rolling your shoulders away from you, keeping your arms as straight as you can so you can stretch the sides of the body, but still remember that pelvic floor. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. Suck the belly in, and then on the next inhale, bring your hands in front of your chest, hands on the hips. Turn the right knee so that it's facing the front, straighten the right leg and release it. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, other side, so we're standing on the right leg, tiptoes of the left, clenching that right glute, really rooting yourself onto the right leg, and then you're lifting that left leg off the floor, turn the knee out, and either you're placing the foot on the inside of the calf, or you're placing the foot on the inside of your right thigh. And then once you feel balanced, place your hands in front of your chest and fixing your gaze on a fixed spot in front of you. You're bringing your hands up towards the ceiling, rolling the shoulders away from you, squeezing the shoulder blades together, stretching the sides of the body, but you're still engaging the pelvic floor. Inhale into the count of 5. Breathing into the belly, exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands in front of your chest, hands on the hips, turn the knee towards the front, straighten the left leg and release it. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, so we're gonna sit down onto the floor. The staff pose, which I said to you, again, is one of the poses that engages all the chakras, okay? So when you want to activate the chakras, as long as you're keeping the core muscles engaged, you're pretty much activating the chakras all the time. Then there are specific moves that basically open that chakra in particular, which we've already done. We've done the horse pose and we've done the mountain pose with the hands up towards the ceiling. So now we're gonna do this one, concentrating onto the pelvic area, really stimulating that area, okay? So the legs are straight, you're pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. If you're struggling to sit upright, just like this. Use a couple of pillows or use the block underneath your bum. Release the flesh away from your buttocks. Hands either side of the buttocks with the fingers pointing towards the toes. And then you're rolling the elbows away from you, gently bending them so you're not bringing the shoulders up towards the ears. Opening the chest, focusing onto the core muscles. So now clench that bum hole, suck the belly in, open the chest, tuck the chin under. You're looking just beyond the big toes. Now imagine, just close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're wearing this red underwear and you're really feeling that pull up by just sitting upright. Sucking the belly in, really feeling that pulling up onto the pelvic area. And now inhale into the count of 5, breathe into the belly, exhale into the count of 5. One more, inhaling through the belly to the count of 5, exhaling, pushing the belly button towards the spine. On the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, suck the belly in, keeping that core muscle engaged. This is the key to this posture now, yeah? You're folding forward at the hips until you're feeling that the pelvic area is still engaged. And then rest the hands wherever they're comfortable on the legs. Tuck your chin under so your neck is nice and long. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in, re-engage the pelvic area. And exhale, see if you can go a little bit further into the bind so that you can sort of use the hands to bring the torso towards the thighs. The most important thing here is that your core muscle is still engaged, especially that pelvic floor area. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up. Hug the right knee towards the chest. Bring the right foot over the left leg, keeping your left leg straight. You're bringing your right arm behind you, left hand up towards the ceiling. On the next inhale, suck the belly in and either hug the knee towards the chest, turning towards your right, or you're placing your left elbow on the outside of the right knee. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine. On the exhale, you're turning towards your right. Make sure you're still pointing the left toes up towards the ceiling. Focus now your attention and your breath into the pelvic area. Clench that bum hole as you're sucking the belly in and turning towards your right. It's not easy, right? Especially as you're twisting, you tend to very easily lose that connection to the pelvic floor. So just make sure that you're still engaging that pelvic floor as you're lifting up the spine and turning towards your right. One more breath here. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center. Hug the right knee towards the chest and release it. We're going to do it on the other side. Hug the left knee towards your chest. Straightening the right leg, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. Bring your left foot on the outside of the right leg. Left hand behind you, right hand up towards the ceiling. On the inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine, and then either hug the knee towards the chest or right elbow on the outside of the left knee, turning towards your left. Making sure the key of this pose is that you've got that connection to that pelvic floor. So you're feeling that you're clenching that area as you're turning towards your left. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. On the inhale, you're bringing the breath down onto the belly. On the exhale, you're flattening the belly button towards the spine. And And then on the next inhale, come back to the center, hug the left knee towards your chest and release it. We're coming into a wide-legged position, so I tend to do it across the mat because you want to have a little bit of padding onto your heels, okay? So you've got your legs as wide as you can. Again, if you need a block to stand up straight, use the block, use a lot of pillows, okay? So now release the flesh away from your buttock, and the key is almost to tilt forward, so you're already tilting in the right position, okay? Now, some of you might only be able to go forward a little bit. I want you to keep that connection into that pelvic area. So it doesn't matter how far or fast forward you can go. It doesn't really matter. You're placing your hands in front of your groin, clenching that area as you opening the chest on the inhale. On the exhale, you're walking your hands away from you. Now, the most important thing is that you're keeping that pelvic floor engaged. It doesn't matter if you're going forward just an inch or two, or if you're all the way down, okay? It doesn't really matter. You want to have that connection to that root chakra. You can get to a point where you got your forearms down onto the floor, adjusting the neck so the neck is always in line with the rest of the back, and then perhaps eventually you bring your forehead down onto the floor. Clench that area, making sure it's still the connection. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up and bring your legs together. Now there's another pose which is called the hero pose, which is supposed to be quite good for this. However, I find that not many people can do it. So I'll show you what it is, okay? You're having the block, the length part underneath your bum, and then you're bringing the knees together with the heels either side of your bum, okay? So it's both together. Now, you can do this, everybody can do this, but if you're coming on your knees, so probably that's the best way, you're placing the block in between your feet, okay? Now, if you find that you're really, really stiff on this area, now is the time to grab a lot of pillows, okay? So you can basically bring 2 or 3 pillows onto the block, on top of the block, and you're sitting underneath the pillows, okay? And now you're sitting, trying to keep the knees together, you're sitting on the pillows, okay? And now the key again is to keep the core muscle engaged. So I'm just gonna get rid of them because I don't need them. You're placing your hands either side of the feet and you're pushing your chest forward. If you want to go any further, you can sort of walk your hands away from you, so you can be on your forearms if you want to, but it's not necessary. And then you still want to work on that pelvic floor being engaged. One more breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then to come out of the pose, you're coming into your knees. Get rid of the block. Get rid of the pillows. Bring your feet together and we're coming into child pose. So you're sitting on your heels and you're leaning forward, placing your forehead onto the floor, arms forward, so you're stretching the front of your shoulders, forehead onto the floor, really trying to sit on your heels so you're releasing the whole of your lower back. Take a few breaths here. Really breathe into the belly and still start focusing and imagining you're wearing this red underwear that is starting to get on fire. And you're really breathing into that red underwear, focusing your attention into that area, not necessarily engaging it, because this position here, as you're almost into a fetal position, already engages that area, okay? One more breath here. And then very gently start walking your hands towards your body. Sitting either side of the feet. Come into the middle of the mat. Place your hands on top of your knees and roll yourself onto your back. Hug the knees to the chest. Tuck your chin under. Releasing the front of your hips by really hugging the knees to the chest. We're going to do the bridge pose. We're bringing the feet as close as we can in front of the hips. They are hip width apart with the big toes slightly tucked in. Press your hands down onto the mat, and then on the next inhale, this is key, okay? So you need to tilt your pelvis under, trying to bring the belly button towards the spine. As you're keeping this area engaged as it is, you're pushing the hips up as much as you can, tilting the pelvis under, and then if you want, you can interlace the fingers behind your back, shuffling to the top of your shoulder, tilt the pelvis under, push the hips up, make sure that the knees don't come out to the sides. Clenching that area of the pelvis. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. So inhaling to the belly and exhaling, bringing the belly button towards the spine. And then release the hands, and on the exhale you're bringing the spine back down onto the floor, hugging the knees to the chest. You're rolling the knees onto clockwise position so that you're sort of giving yourself a little bit of a release on your lower back. And then we're going to do it one more time. Focus onto the pelvic area. Place the feet as close as you can to the hips. Big toes are slightly tucked in. Tilt your pelvis under. So at this point, as you're tilting the pelvis under, the bum is off the floor, okay? Suck the belly in and then push the hips up, keeping the pelvic floor engaged. So you're tilting that pelvis under. Shuffling to the top of your shoulders, interlacing the fingers, pushing the hips up towards the ceiling. Really feeling that pelvic area engaged, the glutes are squeezed. One more breath here. And then on the next inhale, release the hands down onto the floor. Exhale, bring the back down onto the floor. Hugging the knees to the chest. You're releasing now the back by moving the knees anti-clockwise. And now we're going to bring both knees together onto the sides, okay? This is another pose that engages the root chakra. So now imagine that flaming red underwear, and bring your right arm out to the side. And bring the knees as close as you can towards your left shoulder. Both knees together, and you're turning to look towards your right hand. You can press with your left hand down onto the right knee, trying to bring the knees down onto the floor. Trying to keep the knees as close as you can towards your left shoulder. That makes sure that you're engaging the root chakra. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then come all the way back onto the middle. You're opening the left arm out. Place your right hand onto the left knee and bring those two knees down towards the right side of the mat, looking towards your left hand. Bringing the knees as close as you can towards your right shoulder and the armpit. and then very gently start bringing the knees back to the center. Hug the knees to the chest, and we can start rocking back and forward until you're coming up into a seated position onto the mat. Now your choice here of an inversion. So if you've got any problem with high blood pressure in general, high blood pressure of the eyes, or you're on your menstrual cycle, you're just bringing your legs over the wall, across the wall, and you're basically staying with the legs up the wall, okay? Otherwise it's a shoulder stand or a headstand. I'll show you the shoulder stand first. You're rolling onto your back, bringing your legs over your head. If they touch the floor, then shuffle to the top of your shoulders, support your lower back, walking the hands up the back. You're bringing one leg up at a time, walking the hands up so you're as upright as you can, hips towards you, legs away from you. And then 10 breaths here, and then you're bringing your legs over your head. If they touch the floor, release the hands. Otherwise, you keep on supporting your lower back. Keep your legs straight for a breath or two, and then knees over your forehead or around the ears, and then you're rolling yourself onto your back. If you want to do the headstand, you're bringing your mat closer to the wall, double it a couple of times, interlace the fingers so that the elbows are underneath the shoulders, and you're pushing the elbows together so that the elbows don't come out to the side. You're placing your head in front of the hands. And then inverted dog. If you want, from here, try to walk your knees towards the chest, and then you can look for the wall. The other legs come up. You can straighten that leg first, and then see if you can come up with that leg off the floor and straighten it, okay? And then as you're coming down, you're coming into a child pose with the arms along the body, and you're staying in this position for at least 30 seconds, okay? Okay, so if you were doing the shoulder stand, start thinking about coming out of the shoulder stand. And then we're going to do the fish pose for the people that did the shoulder stands. So your legs are straight, you're pointing the toes away from you, you're leaning on your forearms, and you're trying to puff up the chest and placing the top of the head onto the floor. So if you cannot do that, you need to slide the elbows away from you until you can puff up the chest and release the top of the head down onto the floor. To come out of the pose, tuck the chin to the chest and release yourself down onto the mat. Stay 1 or 2 breaths here onto the fish pose, and then come out of it. If you were doing the headstand and you've been doing the child pose, start to come into Shavasana. So everybody will come into Shavasana, which is the corpse pose. Again, this is one of the poses that connects all the chakras, okay? We're gonna try to do some meditation, focusing onto the root chakra. So you're having your feet as wide as the mat, you're lying down onto the mat, flop your feet to the sides, tilt your pelvis under so as much as your lower back is on the floor, and then roll your shoulders away from you, opening the hands, the palms up towards the ceiling, tucking your chin under so your neck is nice and long. You can use a pillow underneath your knees, you can use a pillow underneath your head, you can also bend the knees so that your feet are on the mat and you're supporting the knees with each other. And now try to just listen to my voice and focus on different parts of the body, and then we're going to try and focus again onto the root chakra. Relax the feet, relax your ankles, relax your calves, relax your shins, relax your knee joints, relax the back of the thighs, and relax the front of the thighs. Relax your hip joints. From there, from the hips, you're coming all the way across the glutes into the center of your glutes. And now from the center of your glutes, you're getting under and over your reproductive organs into the pelvic area. Relax your lower abdomen, so the area between the pelvis and the belly button. And relax your upper abdomen, so the area between the belly button and the rib cage. Going up into the front of your rib cage, you're going up the chest cavity into your chest bone, your breast, your pecs and the clavicles to the top of your shoulders. And now we're going to relax the back from the top of the shoulder into the space in between the shoulder blades, relaxing the shoulder blades, coming down either side of the spine into the middle of the back and into the lower back, all the way into the sitting bones and your coccyx. And then come again into the hip bones, and from there you're coming up into the sides of the body, into the waist, all the way up into the armpits, relaxing the sides of the body. And now relax your shoulder joint from the armpit, the front, the top and the back of the shoulder. Relax your upper arms, relax your elbows, relax your forearms, relax your wrists and relax your hands. Coming back to the top of the shoulders, relax the back of the neck, relax the front of the neck. Relax your chin, relax your lower jaw, relax your mouth and your upper lip, relax your nose. And now coming from the sides of the nose, across the cheeks, all the way to the ears, relaxing the ears. Relax your eye sockets, relax your temples, relax your forehead. Relax the scalp and the whole of your head. And now I want you to focus your attention onto the root chakra. So really imagine that you're wearing this flaming red underwear. And imagine this red ball of bright light starting from that area that gets engaged as you're clenching your bum hole and releasing it, and spreading throughout the whole of your reproductive organs and the legs. And now I want you to just bring your breath a few times into that pelvic area. So as you're breathing in, puff up that belly, bring the breath all the way down onto the pelvic floor. And as you're breathing out, you're flattening the belly button towards the spine. On the inhale, puff up that belly, really breathing into the belly, and exhaling, flattening the belly down onto the floor. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Still focus on that red light into the pelvic area. Last breath here, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And now let's start bringing the awareness to the rest of the body. So take a deep breath in through your nose and sigh out through your mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you sigh out through your mouth, start wiggling your toes. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you sigh out through your mouth, start wiggling your fingers. Now, if you want, you can give yourself one long last stretch by bringing the legs together, bringing the arms over the head, tense up the whole body, and then relax it. And then hug one knee at a time towards the chest. You got two options here. Either you're rolling back and forward until you're coming up into a cross-legged position onto the mat, or you're rolling yourself onto the right side, pushing yourself up with your left arm, coming into a cross-legged position onto the mat. Place your hand in front of your chest, and thank you very much for practicing today. Namaste. Thank you.